Welcome to Brandventures, the podcast that's going to take you into the world of adventurous brands. I'm your host, Gustavo, and I'm going to take you guys on a journey with me to discover new brands that are making a difference in today's market. Join me as we dive into the minds of fearless entrepreneurs behind the brands, discover the secret to their success and how they turn their passion into a profitable business. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an exciting adventure into the world of brand innovation on the Brandventures podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Brandventures, the show that's going to take you into the world of adventurous brands. My name is Gustavo Padron, and today we have Alejandro Toro. Alejandro is a freelance content producer for companies like BuzzFeed and Tastemade, and he's a former MasterChef participant with experience in branded deals and influencer partnerships. So welcome to the show, Alejandro.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
It's better to ask, where are you, than how are you?
Yeah, usually with me, it's like that. Everybody's like, so in what part of the world are you at right now? So my home base right now is Puerto Rico. It's been for the past 2 years. And when I moved to Puerto Rico, I wanted to connect with people in the same industry as me, but I was also a newcomer. So I decided honestly, all the people I met that were in the production world, they would always tell me like, oh man, there needs to be a place to connect where all of us can connect, where we can, share ideas and find projects. So since everybody was telling me that, I figured, wait, why don't I just create that? So I partnered up with a restaurant and we started Film Nights, which is pretty much a networking night for people in the audio visual industry in Puerto Rico. And it's been going on, in July, it's going to be a year. So we've been doing monthly meetups and usually like around 40 to 60 people show up. 60's been the top, but like usually around 40 people show up. And, we always share ideas. We connect with people around the industry. And yeah, well, that's just one of the projects, but that's one thing I've been working on in Puerto Rico.
What is the impact of your nomadic lifestyle, and what does it bring to brands and influencer partnerships?
I mean, I offer my services to different production companies and perhaps influencer marketing companies that need a host or an influencer or somebody that can, work with their brands. And what I bring to the table is my mobile lifestyle, how I'm just constantly moving everywhere, the food aspect as well because of the MasterChef background, and the community aspect, which is really important for me because it's the part of connecting with people and serving your community and trying to make trips more purposeful, not only for the joy of it, but for the actual, leaving something wherever I go or just giving something back to the community. So I think that's what this nomadic lifestyle brings to what I offer as a content creator.
So Alejandro is a very, very good cook, and he also uses that into his videos. And like he's worked for Tastemade, and he was in MasterChef a while back. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I actually, when I moved to the United States like 12 years ago, I started doing voiceovers, and that it went well for me. It went great. Then I started doing some on camera work, and I got to work at a Nickelodeon show as a chef, actually. Funny enough,
Okay.
Acting like a chef. And then after all that, I said, well, let me try Los Angeles. Like that's the mecca for this type of work. So let me go there. And as soon as I got there, I started looking for jobs online, and I saw an ad for MasterChef. So I applied. Honestly, at the moment, it wasn't even MasterChef. It was just an ad that said, if you feel comfortable in front of cameras and you like cooking, you should apply. And honestly, I've always liked cooking. It's never been, I never studied it. I never pursued it professionally, but I've always enjoyed cooking. So I figured, yeah, let me try this out. And I mean, little did I know that that would become an opportunity to be on a TV show, and it was MasterChef with Gordon Ramsay. So after that, it kind of opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me. I was already interested in content producing and hosting. I was doing my voiceover. So I figured, how do I use this access I have now and this new uh, venture I have now of food? How do I use it to still communicate the message I want to communicate and to continue my path? So that's when I got into food production as well. So so yeah, that's how that came about.
And it's interesting because you put yourself out there and you're seeing yourself uh, become a character in a show where you may have been a little bit produced, or you were forced to follow a story. Can you tell me a little bit of what goes down in shows like MasterChef?
Well, there's a lot of things that I thought weren't going to be real that actually were real. Like, for example, the time. I thought they would, say, okay, guys, you have finish up your dishes, and then they would like do action, and okay, you have 2 minutes left. But the time is actually real. So as soon as they say, look, this is what you have to cook, this is the amount of time, go, that is actually real. So that surprised me. I did feel I was kind of a token in that game, where of course I would be the Latino guy. I probably got interviewed in the time I was in the recording of the show, 5, 6, 7 hours of interview, where they only used probably 30 or 40 seconds of me talking. So imagine how much they have to work with. And in those interviews, they're guided. So they'll kind of guide it towards what they want your storyline to be. But I think because of my production background, I recognized that quickly, and I figured, okay, they're trying to make me this Latin lover, Latin hunk guy. Why don't I just switch this around and make it more about being an immigrant, about moving into which is also a role that I figured that they would like as well, because you know how it is. They always have the black guy, the gay guy, the father, the grandfather,
The
the
single
young
mother.
kid, yeah, the single mother, exactly. They always have like these characters. So I gave them the immigrant, and I would always use, back in Venezuela, this and that, and my grandma, this and that, and I would make my accent a little thicker,
Okay,
and
okay.
all that stuff they liked, and it played in my favor because my role then wasn't one of something superficial like being a hunk or something like that. It was more about, it had more purpose. It was about, look, this is the opportunity I have. I left my country. I'm here trying to make an American dream. And I now have this opportunity to talk about Venezuela, about our struggles, about what we go through. And I really used that platform for that. And mind you, this was in 2017 or 16 when we were recording this. And what was going on was the student protests in Venezuela. So it was a very active time politically and socially. So I felt that I could do something by at least, speaking about Venezuela.
So you basically had the opportunity to brand yourself and really give them something that
Pretty
was,
much, yeah.
yeah, that pretty much give them something that you were genuinely truly about. At the same
Hmm.
time, you're communicating. They're getting fed information, and they have a lot to work with. And I think the epic moment was making an arepa, right? So you took what Venezuela is about and you created the main dish. And tell me about that dish.
Well, that was my most frustrating day, to be honest, because um, I think one of the things that made me uh, that made me how can I say this? I think one of the things that helped me be a relevant character in the show and last as long as I did was that I'm an easygoing person. I really, I don't get caught up on on drama or anything like that. I just, move along and do my thing. And they want drama. So So at one point, that was probably, I was weeks into being in the show. You're disconnected from everyone. You can only speak to your family once a week, and so it gets it takes a toll on you after a while. And that day, they did the Latin challenge. So of course, today we have the Latin challenge. Everybody turns around, looks at me. I'm Latino, of course. So I figured, yeah, I have to do well. And precisely the ingredients were, Mexican chocolate and tamales and, well, not tamales, but they had nopales. They had just a bunch of Mexican ingredients. So I remember actually in that episode, it's funny because you don't see a lot of my interaction with Gordon Ramsay, because I remember kind of confronting him a little bit and saying, like, listen, this makes no sense. I'm not Mexican. I get it that you guys have, like, I'm the Latino guy, but this doesn't make any sense. Of course, those things are ignored, and they just keep on recording their show as if, and pretend as if, that didn't happen, because that show is not about expressing yourself. It's about, rating. And I felt really frustrated that day. So anyways, I figured also, hey, this is my opportunity. I have to do what I can, even though I don't agree. And it's very frustrating to be categorized like that, or just, or when your culture or who you are is just like blatantly ignored and ridiculed in a way, and you just have to sit there and stand it. And I did it. So I used the masarepa that they used to make tortillas to make some arepas. I knew they were going to be dry. They weren't going to be so good, but I did it anyways. And I did what I could to represent Venezuela and represent my country. But it was very frustrating because I felt, like, they're giving me all the wrong ingredients and they pretend for me to showcase my country. And so the last thing I thought, that was a frustrating day for me. I remember afterwards sitting down and kind of just like thinking, what am I doing here? Like, I'm just being used. I'm being a token. And the last thing I imagined was that months later, when the show aired, that was going to be the episode that became viral. I remember looking at my Facebook or my Instagram, and all of a sudden I have like 150 persons following me, and then I would check back 5 minutes later, and it was 100 more, and then 100 more, and then 1,000, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And it was that this little video that somebody took of the TV of me getting the MasterChef apron, or me making the arepas, um, that became viral. And my lesson, I guess, there was that even the most frustrating moments, and the moments when you think, that you want to give up and that you want to, uh, call people out or get upset, that might be your biggest opportunity. So just like keep your head down and keep working and be chill and do your thing, just.
It's hard to put yourself out there for people to see, and you feel judged, and you're being judged by many things: your character, your physique, your physique, your talents, your nationality. You're being judged, right? But it's a way of by being vulnerable. You really truly show who you are inside, and that is the best way to connect. For example, for brands and business owners and entrepreneurs, sometimes you gotta put that guard down, and you gotta let others understand why you're putting your product out there, why you have your service, what is it that drives you. And when you bring those barriers down, you can connect deeply with people. And like you said, it may be the worst moment of your life, and people see other things. They see resilience, they see strength, they see that they're proud, they're hopeful. So you never know. You can never give up on your dreams.
And in regards to that, like, I think the human side of brands, I think that's what I've when I understood that is my um, focus as a production company is to show the human side of brands or of products, and the human, the human impact, the usage, just how is it relevant in the community, in the society, how do people view it in an honest, real way. Because I mean, we do live in a world that everything's branded, everything's marketing, but I think we all crave a little bit of sincerity and a little bit of connection and honesty. Exactly, exactly. So that's what I've been focusing. Well, I think that's what my product is. That's what the Alejandro Toro brand has always been. It's just very honest. Because, even though sometimes I grab my phone and I'll be like, hey guys, like I'm doing this and I'm exploring this, it's never a facade. It's never trying to be cool or something. I always try to keep it honest and real. And I think it comes through because I get it as feedback often.
Same thing happens to GP5, my company. I've been working in the film industry for 12 years, and I've crafted my technique, and I've done, producing, directing, editing, and I've done it all in a technical level to the top of the top. And what I realize is that you can get lost in the minutia of technology and developing your skill for a specific software or a specific task, and that's all great and well. But for me, it was like, okay, now I know how to do things. I want to use it in the way that I can help other people, that I can create content that I feel is going to add value to society, or add value to my community, or add value to a certain niche or products that I believe in. So
Yeah.
we live in a world where it's you have to put yourself out there, you have to be vulnerable, you have to let your you have to let your insights be shown, and then you'll attract that thing that you're craving. Until you open up, you're not going to get those fruit flies, that are going to start
Yeah.
sticking to you, and then it'll become a hive or a whole ecosystem of people. um,
Yeah, I agree.
One of the things that I find interesting about you wording yourself is that you say you're shoot ready. What does that mean?
Shoot ready. Well, so what I meant to say is, I'm just very mobile. I think one of the assets I have is that I'm easy to work with, in the sense that, it doesn't take too much for me from an idea to development to production. I am ready to shoot. I'm ready to go. I'm here in Miami shooting right now. I can be tomorrow in Puerto Rico, ready to go. I can do a same night edit. So I think in today's market, it's important to be, flexible and to be quick. And what I wanted to say there, which by the way, I'm updating that thing now. But what I wanted to say was that, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, I have my camera here, I have my mic, and if you need to shoot something, it's not going to be 100 calls, or, yeah, we're not going to be like, pre-producing this thing for a while. I am ready to go. If that's what you need, like, I'm ready.
Okay, so you've been on the road for many years now. Okay, you've been traveling in your van all over the U.S. What is the biggest adventure you've had during that time?
I mean, I don't think a life or death one, because even though I am adventurous, I don't really do like extreme things where I fear for my life. But I have felt very lost sometimes, and like thinking, oh, am I gonna make it? I'm in the middle of nowhere. I remember once, actually, I was traveling through, maybe it was New Mexico, and I had the big RV at that point. I had a huge, like 30, no, was it 41 foot um fifth wheel trailer, pulling it in a truck, and I was traveling in, I think it was in Utah or New Mexico, and I just couldn't find a place for to park. I couldn't find a place for to park, and I'm driving and I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna park it here and call it a day. I mean, I saw a structure, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay here. And when I wake up, I have this huge line of cars behind me, just like patiently waiting, actually. And I get out and I'm like, what's going on? What did I do? What? And they're just like, oh no, you're just right in front of the well of the where they pick up their water. And I was in an Indian reservation, and they were actually, where usually you're told like, be careful with in the Indian reservations, you don't want to intrude, and you don't. But my experience was great because they were just very kind and patiently waiting. But yeah, I had a huge line of cars behind me waiting to fill
Excuse me,
their well, and I was
are you gonna drink or are you not gonna drink? Because
yeah, are you done or what's going on? And I was just sleeping. I think the number one thing that an adventure, a traveler needs is adaptability. And that's really what that is, what you're talking about. I think, a lot of that's just the magic of traveling. It's leaving some space for the unknown, for and just being open to change and flowing with it, and knowing that whatever happens is for the best, and just have a good time with it. But I think adaptability, that is the name of the game.
so tell me, what is the biggest lesson that you learned uh, through traveling and producing shoots for others and being in contact with different communities that has served you in your production?
Maybe I would word it as like documenting above everything. That's the biggest lesson. Documenting above everything, because sometimes we spend a lot of time getting ready or choosing the perfect moment or the perfect spot or the perfect whatever. And the truth is that the the magic is in the journey. So documenting above everything for me means that you always have to be ready to document. And that's why my phone is always a great resource, because a lot of the times the camera's charging or my SD card is full or I have it on the computer or something's going on, and I just turn on my phone and I start recording. And I think that people, at least the type of content I like to create and the reason why people follow me is precisely for the realness of it. So I understood in my traveling that I would rather record something and document something than produce the perfect idea that I have with.
That's an interesting point, because sometimes you can't choose what's happening in front of you. Uh, that's also the beauty of documentary, that you don't know what's going to happen. You got to be ready. And sometimes the prettiest shot doesn't necessarily is not bad. It's actually going to serve a purpose so well that it's going to move the story forward. People that get caught up in the I I need the best gear ever. I need the highest resolution. I need the light to be perfect. That's all well when you're
Mhm.
not in narrative, but when you're in documentary, the actually capturing that moment is more important. Uh,
Absolutely.
a lot of people are they've been desensitized of they've been deprived of the realness of the documentary um, filmmaking. So especially filmmakers, they're looking at something, they're like, oh, that's not good, oh, that's not right, oh, look at the lighting, oh, look at the everything is off, and they're missing the point.
I mean, ourselves, we are our biggest critics. I stop myself from doing things a lot of the times because I feel it's not ready, because I feel the lighting's not right, because of all of this that you just mentioned. And and I deprive myself from documenting or from shooting things a lot of the times because I feel I'm not ready. So that's why I learned that, you know what, even if you're not ready, even if you don't have the light, even if you don't have the camera or the mic, it doesn't have any battery or whatever it is, just grab on your phone and document it. Just, you know, plug in your earplugs and record it on your little mic, do just document above everything.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what is next for Alejandro? What does the future hold?
Right now, I'm really working on understanding myself and my brand so I can market myself better. And then hopefully, create more food, travel, and community content. That's really what I'm chasing. I have a project right now that I'm super excited about, which is going back to food, because the truth is I feel I should create more food content. Um,
It's calling
yeah,
you from.
it's calling me. It's calling me, but I want to merge it with precisely studying my brand. I was thinking, what makes me unique? What is my what is that one thing that I have that makes me different, that makes me stand out? And it's my voice. My voice is something that it's an asset that I've been using for a long time in voiceover, and I figured I had this idea of making like kind of sexy recipes with a friend a while ago, where I would narrate them kind of ASMR style. But I'm kind of revamping that idea with creating a couple of recipes, and even collaborating with people that are creating recipes, but using my voice and doing some voiceover work on top of it. So I'm excited to produce that. I just think that when you're doing everything yourself and you're marketing yourself and you're doing the business side of it and you're reaching out to people and you're doing everything, sometimes it feels pretentious to look at your own assets and look at your own uniqueness. And maybe that's something I struggle with in a way in the past, but now I feel, now that I've been studying my brand, I feel, well, this is what makes me really unique. So let me use this to my advantage and create something that feels personable, that feels real, like I do all of my content, but something that I also know that works and that is uniquely mine. So that's why I'm going to start using my voice more often
I
for
love it.
more sexy stuff.
No, it's great, and you gotta
Maybe
aim.
I can start an OnlyFans, right?
Nice, nice. That's a great idea.
Which is narrating things.
Just subscribe
Yeah,
to Alejandro's OnlyFans right here.
exactly. And then people are going to go in like, oh man, what? Alejandro's OnlyFans. They go in and they just hear me like, today we're going to peel and.
Yeah, I've seen. There's a lady that does like she fingers fruits.
Oh, I've seen some of that.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It feels very pornographic. So like, just stick a finger in an orange and squeeze it, and you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like this right now.
I don't know. This is why this is arousing me right now, but
I know, and
yeah.
there's yeah. I mean, I love to follow. Yeah, I follow you from the day I met you, and I think uh, these things you're talking about are exactly what I see you as already. So it's funny because people on the outside, they see you uh,
Uh-huh.
as something that you already have become, but you yourself haven't seen yourself become that person that others look at you as. Okay, so branding, you're doing your own branding is very important because you're looking in and you're determining these factors that make you unique, like you said, but they're gonna bring self worth and the idea of letting yourself know that who you are, and by opening up, you're attracting other things. So I think that's great what you're doing. I love your stuff, and I want people to follow you. So how do they get in contact with you?
So my Instagram, straight up, Alejandro Toro, VO. It's Alejandro Torovo. That's why it's Alejandro Torovo. A lot of people like don't know why it's that, and it's because when I started, it was Alejandro Toro voiceover.
Okay.
So Alejandro Torovo. That's my Instagram, and then that's pretty much where I have everything. I have my website, which is toroproductions.com.tv. Sorry, toroproductions.tv, and where I'm trying to update it and kind of have a portfolio of everything I do. Because sometimes it's hard to, describe everything I do or even recognize everything I do by just looking at my Instagram, because it's several things. But yeah, I think my website and my Instagram are the best way. And then there you'll find my email and my LinkedIn and any other way to connect with me. But yeah, the latest show that I produce is My Dad and I, and you're welcome to see it. It's on my website and it's on YouTube. It was picked up by Tastemade, and it's a show about, traveling, about food, but also about reconnecting with your parents, healing those relationships, father-son relationships, male vulnerability, which I feel is kind of a hot topic right now, but also just a very important topic for everybody to, at some point, just dive into.
I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's on Tastemade, right? And on your website.
Yeah, it's on Tastemade, and on YouTube you can find it too.
Okay, I love it. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you, Alejandro, for coming. I loved having you on the show. And yeah, this is the Brandventures. We'll see you next time.